Welcome to Mamahood After Trauma, where we stop pretending and heal out loud. I'm Emily Cleghorn, trauma survivor, cycle breaker, and mama rebuilding from the inside out. If you're ready to break cycles, trust yourself again, and rise without shame, you're in the right place. Let's go. Before we dive in, mama, if you're a mama healing from trauma and trying to parent differently, but you're not sure what support or next step is right for you, I totally understand. And that's why I've created something to help. Take my free Find Your Next Step to Calm and Healing quiz to discover where you are in your healing journey and what your next best step looks like. You'll find the link in the show notes below. Hello, Mama, and welcome to this episode of the Mamahood After Trauma podcast. I am thrilled that you have taken some time out of your busy Mama schedule to tune in and listen to our conversation today. Today, we are joined by Joni Woods. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Welcome. Oh my gosh.
Well, thanks.
Welcome to your podcast. Just gonna be that day for me. I can tell.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We're both there together.
Okay,
Um,
good.
so if you're tuning in, this will probably be a hoot. You need a good laugh, a good therapeutic laugh. You might just find it here. Uh,
Yep.
well, Joni, can you share with our listeners uh, a little bit of your story and how you came to be working in the space?
Yeah, don't mind my cat. Uh, uh, and sorry, just to start, the way you pronounce my name is Johnny.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I have to tell everyone. So for me, gosh, there's so much story to tell. Currently right now I am unemployed because I'm taking some time off after I got let go, from my last job. And I'm loving it. I have been a full-time single parent since 2020 when my ex-husband passed away. And I feel like I've gone nonstop, and this is the first time since then that I've like, wow, I get to like take a break and do all of that. And so as a result, I've been focusing on the book that I released in October and just really trying to, because as moms, like I don't want to miss out on things, and that's what was
Mm,
starting to happen is, my son's 19, my daughter will be 15 in like 2 months, and he was the one driving her to school and like picking her up, and it just felt like, he was taking on more parenting responsibilities than a 19-year-old really needed to. And
mhm,
so I don't know. It's this weird, like, obviously I need to get a job. Obviously I need to, find the next path, figure all that out. But I've really just been enjoying just getting to be a mom again. And it's been,
yeah.
you know, really hard. So many hats to wear when you're a single parent all the time.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you wrote a book. What's your book about?
Oh, yeah. My book, it's a self-help memoir kind of thing. It tells about my story, a lot of everything that I learned in my childhood that really did a disservice to me. It's that living in someone else's expectations and what it took, like every time I had to find a voice, my voice, and what it is that I wanted and what I was trying to pursue in life, every time I made those choices, it came with big consequences, and it was hard, and it was always hard, but it was so needed. Like I was so tired of being told who I was supposed to be when I
Mhm.
knew it just didn't fit me. And like there's that idea that if you fit into these boxes, then you're going to get all the things that you're looking for, like love and happiness and joy. And that just never happened for me. No matter how many times I try to check boxes off for people, it
Mhm.
just, I there was always a part of me that was never fully fulfilled. So that's what the book is really about, like just learning how to find my own voice, learning how to stop, you know, living up to other people's expectations and deciding who it is that I wanted to be and then getting to do it every day, and that
Yeah.
for me was the best kind of therapy I could have ever done, best kind of
Yeah.
self-love I could have ever done was just decide, okay, this is who I want to be, and it doesn't fit your mold, so I'm sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
But I think what you're talking about there is something that a lot of women, a lot of moms find themselves in. Because I know for me, I grew up being told that, you have to get a good education, you have to get married, you have to have the kids, like this
Mhm.
checklist. And once you achieve all of these things, you're going to feel fulfilled and happy and blah, 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 blah. And I did all of those things and found myself in a career, a very noble career,
Mhm.
but hated my life every single moment of it.
Yeah.
And so there's there's a balancing act. So what was the beginning of that journey like for you? Because I know for me when I started, I ruffled a whole lot of feathers.
Oh yeah, me too. Well, and I didn't realize that I had been doing all this kind of independentness, whatever, independent stuff, my entire life. Like when I sat down to write the book, I was like, oh, I've been doing this for a while. I just didn't recognize that it was a continuation.
Mhm.
But the big catalyst for change was when I got a divorce. I was just the marriage was miserable in the sense that everything was my fault. Like we were
Mm.
married 15 years and we were in therapy for 8 of them. And we spent more time in therapy than we did like actually, not in therapy. And still at the end of it, he looked at my therapist, our therapist, and said, 100% of the problems is Johnny's fault. And she was like, 100%? He was like, yeah, 100%. She's like, really? And he said, okay, well, like maybe 99.9%. And it was just like, okay, I can't be in a relationship with someone who is unwilling to even discuss the fact that they might be contributing to the problems in our marriage. And so series of multiple situations and just, more like anchor down that I needed to get out of this marriage. And so when I did, that started the big like change, because
Mhm.
I was a youth and young adult pastor for almost 20 years. So with that, you don't get a divorce. We're supposed to
Mhm.
be the examples, we're supposed to be all of this. And so I knew that once I pursued a divorce, it was like my whole life was going to change. Everyone was going to question me. The gossip, I knew all of that was going to happen. And so that was the perfect time to really figure out one, why I was making such a big decision, so that
Mhm.
I could stand by it, and I needed the decision to be made for me. And
Mhm.
because I had been making so many decisions for everyone else, like I couldn't even make the decision for my kids. Like, yes, in the sense that I would tell them, I want you to have 2 happy homes. I don't want you because we were miserable. We were in one very miserable home. But even still, like it had to come down to why I needed to make that change. It couldn't be anything else, or I was going to get talked back into it was the
Yeah.
problem, you
Yeah.
know. And so that was the big catalyst for change was I had to make a decision and then I had to stand by my decision so that nobody could talk me out of it. And that just started a whole series of doing that over and over again, doing that during my dating life, doing that after my ex-husband passed away, like we're moving, I'm going to make a decision, stand by it, and we're going to figure it out. And
Mhm.
so that's just constantly been, And that's for me, I'm like big advocate for emotional intelligence because
Hmm.
self-awareness, self-reflection, and accountability. When you're making these decisions, you got to stand by them no matter what. And that's being accountable. You don't be accountable just because you get caught or you get, whatever.
Yeah.
Someone questions you. You give accountability. You're like, this
Hmm.
is why. This is the decision I'm making. May not be the right one, may be the worst one I've ever made, but I'm standing by my decision
Hmm.
because this is what I hope will happen out of it. So,
Yeah, and I think that's really important, but it's also really hard to do in the midst of the complexities of life
yep.
and the the brain goblins that trauma leaves behind.
Yes.
That's the best way I can put it, the brain goblins.
You're not wrong. It's going to be my new thing to talk about. Brain complex.
Brain goblins, the the voices that happen internally that tell you you're screwing it all up, you're gonna regret this, and you have to almost tell them to, well, not almost, sometimes you really do have to tell them to shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up, I'm doing this thing, and we're gonna be okay.
hmm
How did you get through that part of it?
Um, for me, it was like I said, a lot of emotional intelligence. The thing that got me through, especially during the divorce, was that's when I started writing my book. I worked at a hospital. I did the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, and so like in the
Mhm.
middle of the night, there's not a lot to do. So I was just like journaling everything, all the experiences, the arguing that was going on with my ex-husband, the issues that we were running into, trying to like find myself, the dating, what dating was looking like, the lessons I was learning and all of that. And so because I was able to do that, that was one of the biggest things I walked away with from therapy was writing. I have to,
Mhm.
because there are so many brain goblins in there. I had to get it all out so that I could talk
Mhm.
myself through everything because there were just so many things going on in my head, so many. And I mean, I'm someone, I think a lot of people do this, but maybe not. Like I'll replay an argument and just
Mhm.
like change how I said something or like it should have gone
Mhm.
this way, or I will predict an argument. Like I'll just sit there and like have my case already ready and I'm like ready to fight and I never say any of it, right? And so what I ended up doing was I just started writing it all down because that was the way for me to get clarity on where I stood with everything.
Mhm.
I'm not a good arguer. I'm really actually terrible at it because my ex-husband, he'd come and badger me, like just like
Mhm.
come at me with a bunch of questions. And my brain, I liken it to a Rolodex. You have to like spin it to get it to the right spot. But if you're asking me all these questions, like I'm still 4 questions behind and I'm
Mhm.
answering you think I'm answering your current question. I'm answering the question from 4 times, like 4 questions ago. And so it just caused constant conflict. And so for me to shut those brain goblins down, I had to write everything out and
Mhm.
then walk through all of it. And for me, when I finally came down to it, I had to recognize that I wasn't making a new mistake, which everyone was
Mhm.
like, you're making a mistake, you're getting a divorce, you're making a mistake. I was like, no, you know what? I'm fixing my original mistake, and that was getting married to him. I shouldn't have gotten married. I got married when I was 20 years old, and I knew I was making a bad decision, but like I said, I stood by my decision, and
Mhm.
now 15 years later, I'm fixing that mistake. And so that was for me the way I was able to shut down all those brain goblins was because I was
Mhm.
able to write everything out and be like,
Write
no,
it out.
the accountable thing is that I shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. I made a mistake and I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it so I can have a better life, so my kids can have a better life, so he can have a better life. That was the whole goal. Um, and so yeah, it really that for me really helped quiet all of those things down. And then it just gave me a stronger spine when I had to speak to people that were like in my face being like, "What are you
Yeah.
doing?" Yeah. I was able to say, "No, you can tell me that all you want, but no, I know my truth." And that's really essentially how you sort out your truth is by just like sorting it all out. It's like making a big puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, I am a huge advocate for journaling, and because for me, words weren't safe.
hmm
And so writing things down, journaling it out helped me to get out what I needed to get out in a way that felt safe. And I always make sure to say that, journaling doesn't have to be a pen and paper writing it
hmm
down. It can look a bazillion and one different ways. However, you get out what you need to get out.
hmm
As long as you get it out and it doesn't stay living in your body causing problems.
Yeah.
Um, so what are one or two action steps that a mama listening could take to help her strengthen her um, emotional intelligence
Um, to strengthen the emotional intelligence.
to build it up? Yeah.
Yeah, the journey for emotional intelligence can be kind of scary. Just in the
Yeah.
sense because yeah, because you have to start by recognizing, like I said, I'm the biggest mistake that I was fixing was the one that I got married, and to recognize so it would have been nice. It would have been nice to just say, my ex-husband could clearly not take any responsibility for anything, like I had
hmm
I had all of these great examples of why the divorce, he was drinking, I could have put it on his shoulders.
hmm
But the goal of emotional intelligence is because I couldn't change him. At the end of
No.
the day, I had to work on me. And so what that meant was how long am I willing to stay in this situation when I know it's killing me? When I know that like
hmm
I'm crying in the middle of the night while I'm cleaning something because I'm miserable. At what point do I become accountable for how long I stay in this situation? Or every time, my kids are upset because of the way my ex-husband's treating my son, at what point do I become accountable for what I continue to allow happening around me?
hmm
And that's the really stinky, terrible part of emotional intelligence is you start having to look inward and you start having to um be responsible. It's self-awareness, it's self-reflection. After my ex-husband died, I had invited my in-laws to come over and see their kids. I'm thinking Steel Magnolias, Sally Field's gonna run and hug this baby because this is the last of their son, right?
hmm
And they never came. They never came. My ex-husband and I had such a contentious divorce. It was terrible. I lost contact with everyone. Nobody taught me how to co-parent. I was just like, yes, done. And but what ended up happening was my in-laws didn't show up for the kids in their most, dire time. They had just lost their father. And I could have easily because they made my life very difficult after that.
hmm
They did a court order where I couldn't even be there. It's the worst day of their life. Their father's getting buried and I couldn't be there. And I could have just sat there and been like, they suck, blah, 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 blah. And I just, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-reflection, accountability just went, well, I screwed that up and my kids are paying the price for it. I should have figured out co-parenting better. No, do we think our ex-husband's ever going to die? No, but I should have made a priority of figuring that out because now my kids are paying the price. And they didn't deserve that. They needed their grandparents. And yeah, I did what I could to invite them over, but had we had some sort of healthy co-parenting relationship, then that wouldn't have been a problem. And so that step towards emotional intelligence means you're owning your stuff, you're owning your choices. And yeah,
Hmm.
and in doing so, now I make a priority for healthy communication. I've rebuilt that relationship with their grandparents. I've done that work so that I, at the end of the day, can say I tried. I
Hmm.
really tried. And that for me is probably the best example I can give to the kids is I tried, I'm trying,
Hmm.
and we leave everything on their side now. We keep our side of the street clean, and whatever, turns up on the other side is on them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that to start the emotional intelligence journey is really kind of like, ugh, well, that was
Yeah.
my bad. That's me. I'm the problem. You know.
How can our listeners connect with you further if they'd like to do so?
Yeah, you can connect with me on my website, jonywoods.com. I had to restart my social media, so I've got a new Instagram, author Joni Woods. And so follow me, please. I'm like at like 90 people. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
it was sad when I lost all my social media accounts. I had like 7,000 on there, and now I'm
oh
like,
man, that's rough.
they're all gone.
That's
So
rough.
follow me. But yeah, those are the two ways. Yeah, my website and my social media. I try to
Yeah, and
respond to everybody.
I'll make sure there is a direct link to one or both in the show notes so that you can find Johnny really easily. Thank you so
Perfect.
much for being on the show today, Johnny. It was a pleasure having you and hearing your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to follow the podcast so new episodes land right in your feed each week. And if you're wondering what your next step toward calmer, more confident motherhood looks like, take my free Find Your Next Step to Calm and Confidence quiz found in the show notes below. Until next time, Mama, mend the past so you can mama in peace.